of the project is following. So in the root of the project, let's open the code editor. In the root of the project, we have folder SASS, where we store the SASS files, which are input of the stylings, and the other folder is CSS, which isn't committed because that's a generated result of these SASS files. So this is compiled CSS files, which are made based on the SASS files. Also, I have included the demo page, which allows us to see how the different themes, how the components looks with different themes. But I will touch that later as well. And also, I have written a Word document which demonstrates how to use this SASS thing and how to compile CSS from that. But that's again something which I will touch soon. But yeah. Okay, so as soon as you have downloaded the project from Subversion, you also need to install the. Of course, you have to install your favorite code editor for SASS, which supports SASS. My personal preference is Visual Studio Code, but other options are fine as well. For example, Atom or I don't know, any other tool which you prefer. And the other thing which you need to install is SASS compiler. For that, my recommendation is a Scout application. And by the way, in the Word document, in the documentation document, I mentioned that you can find the links to the applications I mentioned. Okay, yeah, so in the Scout application, you can you need to add the project from Subversion in order to compile SVN. So let me remove my current project so I demonstrate how to do that. So when you will open the Scout application for the first time, it will ask you to add your first project. So just copy and paste a files folder from Subversion, and it should automatically discover the SASS folder, which will be input folder, and the CSS folder, which will be output folder. And then under the environment settings, something which is quite important, you have to set Scout application to use expanded output format, which means that the CSS, at first it will mean that the CSS files will be quite readable, but what's more important is that unfortunately Outsystems hangs up if you try to feed compressed versions of CSS for that. So it allows you to copy and paste that for first time, but next time you will want to open the the style sheet with the compiled CSS, it will hang up. So it's quite important to remember to use expanded output style. And as soon as you have done that, you just press the start button, and it will automatically discover the files and it will generate the CSS output. Yeah, and under the SASS folder, the structure is following. The first folder is components, where we will add our custom components. You can see some first examples here. This is the steps component, which is a breadcrumb for us. The next folder is libraries, where we have included SASS sources for some styling libraries. We use Bootstrap, then date picker for Bootstrap, and also select2, which is a styling library for the dropdowns. And then next folder is themes folder, where we have defined various themes for our projects. First theme is AF, which stands for Alexander Forbes, of course, and the other one is default, which stands for the default Bootstrap colors and default Bootstrap theme. Under each theme, you have again multiple files. So first one is variables, which defines all the differences and different variables for the theme. For example, the color palette, body backgrounds, and so on, fonts, and so on. And the other one is theme file, which does nothing but includes includes variables, libraries, and components, and this is the main input for the generated CSS. So, for example, for this example, default theme will build a CSS file using variables which are defined here, and all libraries and components which are defined here. And the output of the file is, as you can see, quite long, but it contains all the necessary definitions. And then the demo page, which I mentioned, this is, you can see the demo page on my screen right now. This is how the components will look for AF theme, but if you, for example, want to look how the same components will look for the default theme, you open the demo HTML file, and then on the top of the file you can swap this line with other theme name below the page, and you can see that how components will look with default colors, with default Bootstrap colors. Okay, I think that's it regarding the project. The next point is a quick demo for updating and making new themes. So let's quickly try to make a new theme to demonstrate how easy it is. For example, I will make a new theme for Generali as an example based on the default theme. So I just copy and paste the default theme. Let's rename that to and I also let's update the demo file to use the Generali theme. Sorry. So I think, yeah, for some reason Scout application didn't discover new file, but normally it should discover that without reloading the project. Okay, so you can see currently the theme looks exactly the same as the default one, but now let's try to brand that using Generali color. So let's pick the Generali red color. And then under the theme variables, let's update the brand primary color to generally red. So as soon as it's done, we can simply reload the showcase. Again, first I think that is something. Okay, something failed. Yeah, I think the issue is that probably Visual Studio had logged the file, so Scout application couldn't use it. It never happened before, but yeah, I think that's what usually happens for demos. Okay, yeah, so let's reload the page another time, and we can see that for almost all components, the colors has been updated using generally red. So it's really easy and fast to define some base theme using different palette. And for example, as we can see that they normally don't use rounded corners. So let's update that as well. So in the variables file, there is a variables for the border radiuses. So let's update them from the current values to zeros. Then update the demo, and as we can see that there are no rounded corners for the components anymore. So it's as easy as that. You just need to update the right variables, and then it should be really easy to brand the components for different purposes, for different companies. Okay, that's I think it for the third point of agenda, and let's turn to the next one, or to the last one, is which is guidelines for making custom components and customizing current theme and customizing themes. Again, those guidelines are included in the documentation file which I mentioned. So let's go through them. So the first point is when implementing custom components, you should reuse existing variables as much as possible, and also you need to introduce new variables for customizable component things. For example, if you work on let's say breadcrumb component, which will be which should be where the active item of breadcrumb should be red for generally, but orange for Alexander Forbes. You should introduce variable for that, and probably the default value of that variable should be the brand primary color. This is also what I have done for the breadcrumbs component, which I implemented yesterday. So as you can see that I have introduced variable steps active color, which will be this color, and by default it comes from brand primary color. If, for example, you want to change that one, but you don't want to to update the brand primary color, you can only override this one in your theme. Let's do that. So this is the variables file for generality theme which I just introduced, and let's make it blue. And as you can see that the breadcrumb component has been updated. And probably other nice feature of SASS which I didn't mention didn't mention before, but is that there are a lot of built-in functions for that. For example, one of the function is darken, which allows you to make your colors darker, or let's play with that. So this will make the default red color to a little bit darker. So yeah, as you can see that it's a bit darker than this one, which is primary color. But yeah, of course, for a full reference, you have to look at the SASS documentation. So it's so if you want to make a new component, you just need to add a new SAS file for your component under the components folder, and then you need to register your component in components as SAS file. So, and then it will be included in your main CSS file. Yeah, just remembered one thing which I didn't mention is that, of course, the compiled result of your themes are not automatically updated for in the Outsystems. So the bad thing is that you still need to do something manually. You have to copy the generated CSS file under to the style sheet of your theme. So for example, if I work for Alexander Forbes, as soon as I have updated my updated SAS files, in order to see the changes for Alexander Forbes, I have to copy and paste the content of the CSS file to the style sheet of the theme, which is here. Yes, so I think that's it. I have fully covered my agenda. So does anyone have any questions or comments or?
After you compile your SAS file and create CSS file, do we need to commit the file?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
So other people will see the same changes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you actually
always one caveat is that most likely you need to commit only SAS file, not the compilation outputs, right?
True.
Oh, okay. Only the SAS files. Okay.
Yeah. I have already added SV and ignore for the CSS folder, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Yeah, and then if we have for some conflicts for multiple developers, then we will be able to solve those conflicts using the SVN, because as I said, Outsystems normally doesn't provide such functionality.
So just to understand, you have to commit in SVN the SASS file, and you have to deploy the CSS file in Outsystems.
Yes, that's true.
Which is actually a generated file.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And one thing which I also didn't mention is that for AF theme, style sheet is compilation output of the AF theme, and also you have to copy the output of default theme to style sheet of Bootstrap theme module in the Outsystems. To this one. So yeah, this is the output of default theme.
Yeah, to expand this, Calvis, and fix me if I'm wrong. So the idea is that you can start new portal project. You can use default Bootstrap theme, so the portal will look nice from day one, and it will be responsive. And then Calvis showed how to develop custom themes you can use on your specific portal, just to implement the customer branding.
You're compiling also SASS files named Outsystem overrides. It's the file you created to override all the behaviors of Outsystems and Service Studio?
Some behaviors. So, for example, this one will hide the smart input extensions for the forms. You probably know those pencils. Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably components is not the best place for this, but I didn't see any better candidate. So. And also we have some overrides for the Service Studio styles, but normally you shouldn't update those. So any other questions or comments?
Calvis, you showed me how you have made the button group component in a way that it looks nice also in design time in Outsystems Studio. Is it something specific? I mean, is it specific knowledge you maybe need to demonstrate right now, or?
Well, yeah, that's a little bit different topic, but we can discuss that as well. So one of the problems which we discovered for the Alexander Forbes is that give me 2 seconds. Is that if you have some custom web block which uses the how it was called the list records control of Outsystems, then normally give me 2 seconds. So then normally if you have then reused your component in different pages, then it looks differently in the Service Studio. Then it looks differently in Service Studio than it should look when it's rendered on the screen. And the main purpose of that is that Service Studio doesn't load the list items from external sources like the database or so on. So let me quickly demonstrate some example. copy of core breadcrumb, which contains only the list records of the breadcrumb items, which sorry, I hadn't prepared for this topic before. So in the runtime where we have the list items loaded from the database, it's being rendered on the screen like, give Outsystems 2 seconds and I will demonstrate it. So during the runtime, it's being rendered with the external data items like this. But when you look at the same component in Service Studio, it's being rendered differently because there are no items loaded from the database from external source. In order to solve that and to make the custom component look nicer in the Outsystems, we have found some workaround, some mechanism how to define the preview look for the Service Studio and how to define how it should look in design mode. So I have introduced a function in core controls module is design mode, and then you can include this in the. You can make a if condition in the definition of your custom component, and then under the true part of the condition, you can define how it should look on. How it should look in design mode, I mean in a Service Studio, and then under the false you can define how it will look in the runtime mode. And normally in design mode, since you don't have any real data which will be rendered, you can just define some demo with some hard-coded data. And then in your page where you include your custom component, it will render your component using the hard-coded data. But when you publish the application and use the same component in runtime, then it will render your component using the data from external source, and it still looks the same as before. Yeah, so this is just a trick which need to be used to make your page look a little bit nicer in design mode in Service Studio. Any questions? Okay, so if no one have any questions, then probably we can close the call.
Well, I guess there should be some no calls. Maybe you can go mute. Yeah, so I guess we need to have some kind of summary. So you can see that Calvis have created some useful shortcuts that should make our life easier. We are already using them on quote a new business portal, but we encourage you guys to try it out, and we believe it's useful for client portal as well. I guess next is for you to discuss this internally, and then if you have any questions, we can answer those offline. And also, obviously, given that we have a lot of experience with tools Calvis showed, we can also we can also help when you will start to implement something. And that's all from myself.
Yeah, probably fellow team can comment whether they like the idea or and so on, whether they see those things useful.
I think our team will find it very useful. I think we need to review documents you left on SVN, and maybe after reviewing documents we'll have more questions. But it sounds very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, my personal experience is that normally I don't like to write CSS, but with using SASS it's much more funny.
It's simpler, and if it can be easily integrated with Outsystems, it's not maybe easy because again you can have to copy paste style sheets.
Yeah, but then again, probably copying and pasting style sheets is easier than trying to manage large files in Outsystems, because as you know that probably the Outsystems editor for CSS files is not the best one.
Absolutely not useful.
Yeah,
Normally I'm copy pasting these CSSs into, for example, Sublime, and working in Sublime and then copy paste to Outsystems.
Yeah, so probably there is no difference at all then.
Yeah.
Calvis?
Yes.
Hi. Can you say something about browser compatibility when using SASS? Does it have an internal browser compatibility, or do you have to write your own functions in order to compile some CSS to fit every browser to be compatible?
Well, that's not something which can be solved by SASS. You still have to. SASS is only to generate CSS output, but you still will need to solve the issues with browser compatibilities like you did it using standard CSS.
I assume that, for instance, the darken function you used will be generated
Well, probably
differently
something.
for each browser.
No, it won't be. It will just calculate the color code based on the input color code. But probably one thing which comes in my mind how it could help is this example for functions. So in this example you can see that they have defined border radius function, or the mixin how they call it, which generates the browser specific definitions of border radiuses. So this WebKit is for Chrome, Mozilla for Firefox, this is for Internet Explorer, and so on.
So
and
this
then,
one already defined, yes?
No, this is just an example, but I don't think this is available in standard SASS.
Okay.
But I may be wrong. Yeah, and then in order, and then it will be easier for you to include the mixing ones than to copy and paste the four definitions for each browser every time where you want to use that.
Okay.
So any other question? Okay. If no more questions, then probably let's close the call. And I'm always happy to answer your questions later if you have some after reading the document. So you can reach me in the Skype for Business.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
Nice.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.